think the point needs to be made again ad nauseam. That public opinion is kilometers and kilometers away from law. Law is not about emotions and sentiments. I've said that again and again on this program. And we have the authority per Nekitobi JSC in Atiku Abubakar versus Umaru Musa Yaradua, who said that the only clientele of law is the law, not public opinion. People may express what they like at beer parlors and all of that. And we saw that yesterday, that their lordships dealt only with the law, qua law. And it seems to me that they even made that point. Justice Nyango Okoro made the point, telling people to trust the judiciary, because that's the last place of, of appeal. And so the judges, yes, they are not going to follow your opinion. It's not your opinion. They follow the technicality of the law. But as it were, this matter is now res judicata. That is settled in law. What is the implication? The implication is that President Tinubu has been confirmed as the properly elected president of Nigeria. The Supreme Court has upheld the decision of the Presidential Election Petition Court of September 6. The Supreme Court has further conferred, if you like, legitimacy on the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So that's a settled matter, and there must be an end to litigation. And which is why I think that, look, in respecting the Supreme Court, the best thing, the best option going forward is for all the parties to come together to realize one fact, that election season is over, campaign is over. It is now time for governance. And that governance, we cannot leave it to President Tinubu and his team alone. All of us are going to be involved in it. As follows: the PDP, the Labour Party, all the other parties, were having lost at the highest court in the land, should go ahead and congratulate President Tinubu, as we have congratulated him this morning on his victory. They should act after the fashion of gentlemen and sportsmen, and then also go ahead to provide opportunities for collaboration in the national interest, which is the overriding factor in all of this matter. President Tinubu himself should be magnanimous in victory, and being magnanimous means reaching out to everybody across party lines to see how all of us can focus on this process of governing Nigeria. Because there are very serious issues, particularly about the economy. And no political party has a monopoly of wisdom on this matter. And in any case, I also expect that after congratulating President Tinubu, the Labour Party, the PDP, and other political parties should also play their role as opposition party. Working with the Tinubu administration does not mean abandoning their role as a quality opposition. Now, let me go to the issues raised by the court, by their lordships. Justice Nyango Okoro providing the late judgment, and the other justices, all of them without exception, agreeing with them. There is cogent issues of law, and I think that their rulings is sounding law. I've always said it on this program, that look, within the province of conflict of laws, what is known as international civil litigation or private international law, if you go and take a ruling or whatever, or you go and collect evidence from another jurisdiction, it does not mean that it will automatically have effect. When I use the phrase here, that voyage of discovery to the U.S. District Court is likely to be of no moment. That was exactly what their lordship said yesterday. In fact, Justice Emmanuel Agim made a point that, it was not registered. That was not the exact word he used, but that is the effect. Because for you to enforce anything from a foreign jurisdiction, you have to register it, you have to before you can enforce it. And he said, no, this has not been registered, so it's not recognized. That's number one. And it's very strange how the lawyers to the appellant in this particular case do not recognize that. Two, their lordships raise very serious issues about procedure and technicality. Section 285, sub 5 and sub 6, they said, are sacrosanct. In other words, you cannot derogate from them because 180 days is provided for. You can't go beyond 180 days at the level of the tribunal. And they wonder that this must be a joke, that you come and adduce fresh evidence, that's the third leg, that you did not adduce within 21 days as provided for in the law. So what they just did technically, procedurally, was to uphold the law. They also made a point about Section 22 of the Supreme Court Act. One of my good friends was arguing with him and said, you are displaying ignorance. I told him, just leave this matter. Let their lordships rule on this, and then you will see. And they particularly responded to that matter. And they said, look, you can't invoke Section 22 when you have not followed due process, when you disappointed your client. So, however, what does that, the details are there in the public domain. And they talked about IREV with regard to Section 14 sub 2, Section 132 of the Electoral Act, which says INEC can choose how it will report. And the failure of the IREV portal does not invalidate the result because there is manual collation of the result. Okay? All of these points were made. So that's why I conclude that these are very sound points in law. Now, what is called to question will seem to be the professionalism of the counsel to the appellants. And I say this with due respect, because these are very senior people in the inner bar. So couldn't they have seen all of this? Why would they willfully mislead their clients? If I just want to put it, I think that, in terms of expertise, with due respect, these people, they disappointed their clients because what their lordships just did was to throw the textbook at them. All these things are inside the textbooks on the subject, and they back their reasoning with case law. But the more important thing for Nigerians is to see that, well, this matter is now settled. We have a country to run. We have to